This next chapter will shift the tone once more. It's the quiet before a new dawn, where the survivors return to the surface and realize that while the darkness has receded, the city itself has changed, alive, aware, and quietly breathing with the memory of everything that happened beneath it. Chapter 18: The Living City. When they surfaced, dawn had just begun to touch the skyline. The streets were still wet from a storm that no one remembered hearing. The city looked cleaner than before, sharper edges, richer colors, as if someone had polished reality itself. But beneath the beauty was something else, something breathing just under the pavement. Delgado noticed it first. The lights on the traffic poles were blinking in perfect unison, not random like before, as though the entire grid was following one heartbeat. Power fluctuations? She asked, though she already knew the answer. Amira raised her transmitter and scanned the air. The static was different now, harmonic, layered with faint musical tones instead of distortion. "It's not interference," she said softly. "It's communication." They walked down Michigan Avenue, past storefronts that seemed to watch them through their reflections. The glass no longer distorted their images, but it shimmered faintly when they passed, as if acknowledging them. A child riding her bike stopped to look into a puddle, then giggled. "It smiled back at me," she said before pedaling off again. Nina stopped at the base of a newly rebuilt high-rise, one that hadn't existed a month ago. Its glass facade caught the sunlight in strange ways, bending the rays into lines that formed faint letters across the concrete. She read them slowly, under her breath. "Light remembered becomes life." Amira smiled faintly. "It's learning," she said. "Or maybe it's teaching." As they made their way toward the old church, the streets grew busier: construction crews, street vendors, families. Life had returned, cautious but determined. Yet every so often, someone would stop and look at a reflection too long, or tilt their head as though hearing something no one else could. Inside the church, the light above the altar still glowed, but softer now, no longer a burning brilliance but a steady pulse. On the floor, the spiral pattern from the old loop had faded, leaving behind a faint outline shaped like a seed. Delgado knelt beside it. "Whatever that place was," she said quietly, "it's not gone. It's just growing different roots." Amira adjusted her transmitter and caught a single faint signal, not static this time, but a clear tone, gentle and repeating. It sounded almost like breathing. Nina smiled, setting her notebook on the altar. Maybe that's how creation was always meant to sound. Outside, the wind picked up. The skyscrapers hummed softly, their reflections moving a fraction of a second before the real ones did, not in defiance but in harmony. The city no longer echoed the old architect's voice. It echoed its own, a chorus of memory and light learning to coexist. As the sun climbed higher, Nina looked toward the skyline and thought she saw something, a faint shimmer of the stairway they had climbed, now hanging just above the horizon like a thread of light connecting heaven to the city below. She blinked, and it was gone. But deep inside, she knew the loop hadn't been destroyed. It had been reborn, not a prison this time, but a promise. And somewhere, carried on the soft pulse of the wind, came the last whisper of the architect, no longer angry, no longer broken. Every ending remembers its beginning.